for the month of July. So I'd just like to let people know that the meeting is being live streamed.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And yeah, so we're aware of that, and thanks to staff for getting that sorted out for us today. We have an apology. We have an apology from Mark Peters, and I'd like to move that we accept that apology. If we've got a seconder.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Helen. Any discussion? Then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, if any, carried. Declarations. Has anybody got any want to declare an interest in any item on our agenda today? If so, say so now. No. Then moving on then to the next item on the agenda, which is the confirmation of the minutes of our previous meeting on the 28th of June. We've got a mover.
I'll move it.
Been moved by Helen. I'm quite happy to second them and just say once again to staff, thanks very much for the excellent job you've done in recording these minutes. Well done. So moving on then now to public forum, and welcome Kerry Ewing from the Tafari Ahiro. Yeah, thanks. I should have practiced that, Kerry, before I introduced you. I know it well. Just sit down there and take a seat amongst us.
Far away.
Yes, we are. That's because of the
Otherwise, Kerry, you can sit down here.
social distancing. No, we're expecting more board members in, but anyway, we've just got to go with what we've got here now. So we're in your hands for 5 minutes to tell us about your exciting new project.
Thank you. Yeah, I've just come to provide a bit of an update on some on work on a project we're doing. The board will be familiar with the community survey that we did throughout the Greater Hornby region last year. One of the key outcomes from there was a willingness from the community to see families, children and youth, particularly those that are doing it tough, to be well supported across that community. In response to that, we first established a bit of a special project through the Gilberthorpe School, providing that was supported by this board in part as well, providing a counsellor, drama club, sports program, taiaha program, parenting classes, and looking to support with school camps and outings and so forth. And that's been a fantastic opportunity to engage with the community from that point. And from that, we've grown into a concept that we're developing, an idea where we'd like to develop the ability to provide a longitudinal support to those really hard to reach and isolated families, something where we could come alongside those that from when their children start school and can provide that long-term partnering support all the way through to those children turn 20. And that has some fundamental challenges. Very few people do that, particularly because resourcing such a program is a very difficult proposition. So we've committed this year to developing a proposal that we would then take to funders to gain the support to allow us to provide that level of support. And as a first stage of that, we worked again with Canterbury University, 2 masters social work students there, and we asked them to do 2 things. One was a study on a literature review on the value of longitudinal models of support, and then to also reach out and to talk with professionals working in that community, in that Hey community. And they spoke with 17 professionals. So they were teachers, principals, youth workers, health workers, the local police, so forth. 17 interviews were completed, a collective of 200 years of experience working in that community. And what we found was that overwhelmingly they came back and said, yes, such a model of a long-term support, partnering and guiding would be very good, as long as you do it very well. Otherwise, don't bother. some of the key outcomes, and I can leave, I have an executive summary here, I can leave copies for if you like, and also copies of the report if they're of interest to the board here.
There certainly will be, thank you.
They noted that the community feedback from those professionals was it was important to ground such a project in the context and in the knowledge of that community, that the engagement phase will be very important, that a longitudinal program develops the opportunity for building real trust, which then is the gateway to being able to support and to making meaningful change, and that the opportunities to create empowerment for those families. So not replacing parents, but enabling them. And for us, this project is really one of wanting to expand horizons and realise potential. So that's an update for us. The next phase for us is now to go and we're working with Canberra University again to reach out and now interview residents in that Hey Broomfield community to gain their direct input so that we have a project that's grounded into the community.
Yes.
We'll continue to develop the full proposal, which will have an operational model, a funding strategy, how we will evaluate progress, and how we coordinate with community groups and the community that are present and wanting to do that. And we aim to have that completed by the end of the year.
Thank you very much. And from what we're hearing from around the world and other parts of New Zealand as well, and other studies that have been done here, is that's exactly the right thing to do. Otherwise, people will get support and get support through different phases, and then that support drops off, and that's when. So this is really the ambulance at the top of the cliff.
Yeah,
and if you can get that support through, and then people are being brought up with that support and give them confidence to move on, that's exactly the right thing to do. So we just wish you all the best with that. Now, Jimmy, you've got a question?
Just one question, particularly impressed. You mentioned earlier to coordinate a community group. My understanding recently in Hornby areas, quite a few community group, for instance, like the Hornby Community Care Center. They also have a community advisor, but all council staff also have community development advisor. But based on your strategy, how to coordinate with those person and try to, can share. I'm concerned whether can share those information, to provide the service. Can get the benefit to the wider Hornby area. This is my question.
So we want to focus particularly into that Hey Broomfield community. We know they're one of the most socially deprived across Christchurch, and they're in our patch, that greater Hornby area. So for us and our trust, that's an area of particular interest for us. The difference, I guess, what we're looking at doing is providing a core worker that comes in and engages with that whānau over the long term, and then supports them to understand what are the barriers getting in the way that are stopping them from accessing what are some existing supports, but also to identify what are the gaps. And if you go into that Hey Broomfield community, you will notice there's no sporting clubs in there. There are no churches in there. There are not the traditional community supports and networks that a lot of our other suburbs and areas enjoy and have in there. So we want to work predominantly through the schools, also plug those gaps and create those pathways that once we expand the horizons of the families, their potentials, their children, their potential within it, that we can also help them to realise that potential over the long term. So this is a long-term project, and through that we're looking for intergenerational change and regrowth and empowerment through that model. But we are still developing the proposal, and part of that is just learning what are the right questions to ask, let alone coming up with the answers. The end of this year is when I targeting to have the full proposal, what we propose to do, ready for consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll look forward to that.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Kerry? No, thank you very much for bringing that to our board's attention. And we are aware of quite a lot of stuff that you are doing.
Thank you.
But if you could just leave that there, and then we'll get that circulated to staff as well. So that's just,
No problem.
If you just,
I'll leave that with you, Bailey. Yeah,
yeah, okay.
fantastic.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Have a safe journey home. Thank you. Now, we've got Peter Simmons. You want to come and talk to us about your Youth Jump Smart Basketball Initiative. Take your seat at the table there.
I come around this side.
Sorry?
Would I be able to sit over there or?
Sit there. That's where the deputations are, sorry.
Microphone is, yeah.
Yeah, that's where the microphone is.
My eyesight's not very good. So that with the mask, my glasses tend to fog up.
Okay.
That's okay. We can hear.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, if you're talking, you can take your mask off,
Oh,
put your glasses on, should you wish.
okay. All right, great.
Yep.
I've got one prop, if you'll allow. It's just on the internet. Is it possible to use the internet?
I don't know, what we should have done, Peter, is actually give staff this.
It's just one thing. It's just a company called T-Big. It's just their website, and that's it. It's
Just that we're already using the website for something.
Yeah, so
That's-
sorry.
that's-
All the information that you've gathered for us, Peter,
Yeah.
and you've done a great job there,
yeah.
has actually been downloaded onto the hub. So all our community board members have got that information in front of them now if they go to their hub.
Sure. Okay.
So if you just want to give us a bit of a verbal update on where you're at, Peter, that'd be much appreciated.
Poverty can be like a never-ending winter. I can speak from experience that when you live in poverty, it can feel like there's never going to be an end to that poverty. Poverty can also be like carrying a heavy bag around with you on your back. So even when you leave poverty, it can stay with you. And I can speak again from experience of living through poverty. And try and imagine a little child who was affected, walking around with that heavy backpack in what could be a never-ending winter. That's what poverty could be like for a young person or a child. And it can stay with you for a long, long time. If you go down to the basketball court, probably on a day like this, it could look like that type of winter has set in around the basketball court. And it's probably quite a bleak place to be. But you could compare that to summertime. Summertime when the sun's out, people can play basketball, they can enjoy time with their friends, make new friends, and have great memories. And that could be really important for a child that lives in poverty. It may be that the basketball court is a place where they can actually enjoy themselves, untethered by financial needs or lack thereof. If the council backs the project that I've been working on for months and months and months, brings in the people that they need to make this project a possibility, then the basketball court at Harrington Park could be transformed into a greater asset than it currently is for the Riccarton area and for the children who enjoy using the court. What do I mean by that? It means replacing the existing pad, the undulating, the sort of rolling kind of pad that you have down there in parts. It's not completely flat. Taking that out, putting new foundations down, a new surface, colours, basketball, perhaps netball lines on the court. It means replacing the backboard and the hoop that need to be replaced on the existing hoop system. It could mean adding an adjustable hoop at the other end so that children who can't use the high net or the high backboard and hoop, they could use an adjustable one. So it could be brought down to a level that's suitable for them and allow them to come in and use the court. Also means that two groups could use it at the same time. You could add netball hoops, perhaps. That's an idea mentioned. Netball lines, widen the court, add seating. If you can't know where to sit, it may be that you'll drift away if you're not playing. On top of the infrastructure, it's about creating a social infrastructure. It means running community events. I envisage one perhaps in December, summertime, if the court was built and operational. Just imagine the memories that you could create as a council by backing this project to the hilt. And in terms of where it's at, it's a big question of money. The community board probably might think I'm here to ask for money. I'm not. I'm here to ask for their support of the project and for people to be brought in to help me realise the project. The company that I want to allude to is a company called the Building Intelligence Group, called TBIG. Now, Mike, you may know of that firm. They were involved with the Littleton Time Ball.
Oh, yes, the restoration of it. Yes.
The cathedral, and probably a whole lot of other projects around New Zealand.
Okay.
I have a relationship with Stephen Threadgill, who is one of the, I don't know if you call him a manager, but he's high up in TBIG, and he wants to make this project happen.
Sounds exciting.
So in order for them to help me, they need to work out how much money this project is going to cost. And for me to work out how much this project is going to cost, I need to know what products and what is acceptable to council. That's where I've hit the roadblock, and that's where I need help from council.
Well, I understand that you've been working fairly closely with some of our community board staff on this already.
I'm here because I need people who are knowledgeable in basketball courts and infrastructure and builds like this to come in and give me the information I can pass on to Stephen Threadgill so he can quantify the job and he can start to find the contractors who will do, I hope, the job for free, thereby bypassing any need for public funds. But once again, I have hit a brick wall, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Part, at least, anyway.
Well, thanks very much for bringing it to us, Peter, and thanks very much for all the work that you have done. So we'll sort of we'll have a discussion with the staff and see where we can go with this project and support. There'll be other staff at the Christchurch City Council that should be able to be brought on board as well. So we'll just test that and see how it goes then, Peter. Would you be comfortable with that? Okay. Any questions of Peter?
Only, I'm not sure, ask you or staff, I'm not sure. So you mean particularly you focus on the Harrington Park?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
But this basketball court, this part of a facility or part of infrastructure.
Yeah, yes.
So I just don't know. But when the enhancement those the Harrington Park, the playground, etc., whether you have made a deputation or feedback to the council or not, or
That's when we gave the Harrington Park quite a substantial upgrade in the play.
We have upgrade,
a big upgrade in the play equipment park, and I know, Peter, that you've been involved in the mural project that we had a while ago. I understand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But anyway, so what Jimmy's saying,
yeah,
we've already done a lot in Harrington Park now.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That is true. A lot has been done for. I'm not denying that at all. I think there's been a lot of good things that have been done for the park. I don't think that precludes more being done in an area. If you look it up on the deprivation index, parts of the area rated 9 or 10 on the deprivation index. You can't go higher than 10. Deprivation still exists. And for some kids, the basketball court might be the place where it could have a really positive impact upon their life. If on the first page of the report that I produced, you'll see a quote there from Kaida Mitchell, who lives very close to me. He's a boy, I think he might go to Wharanui School. And you'll see other quotes from children that I met at the community day last year. So I asked them about it, and their responses are most of the time quite plain to see. So basketball courts are one place where, if you play cricket, you need a bat and everything. Basketball, you just need a basketball, and off you go. pretty much.
Okay, well, that's all. good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. No other questions to Peter at this stage? Thanks very much for bringing that to
Thank you.
attention, and we do have all that information that you've sent through. We've got all that on our hub anyway, so we'll just ask staff to to see what we can do to help with that project and see where it goes.
T-Big want to help, and the sooner the council provide me the help, we can start to move it forward.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have a safe trip home, Peter. Okay, thanks, Kerry.
Thank you.
Moving on now to deputations by appointment, and we've got Lewis Lowe from the Canterbury Car Club to talk to us about the report that's on our agenda today to construct asphalt surfacing and landscaping in 2 areas of Waipuna Park. Welcome, Lewis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you to the board for giving us some time to speak to you today. I'm on the management committee at the Canterbury Car Club, and I was kind of given this project as something to do. It's been quite a long one, and so the first place that I started was by contacting Felix, because essentially the Christchurch City Council is our landlord, and we wanted to make sure that we did everything right. So 3 things that we're talking about and would like to get approved is 2 asphalt areas and approval to continue with planting towards our carbon neutrality goal as part of our climate adjustments that we'd like to make around the club. So there's 2 asphalt areas we've asked for, one to go just inside the gate 2 for the primarily for the motorcycle training man Dan Ormsby. We identified the reason we needed to move him as it was a bit of a health and safety hazard, because he operates currently in an area where he has to cone off every day. And it's a bit open to the public. We wanted to put him out away on his own and also give him the ability to operate on more days, because we have to shut him down when we're getting access to the track and things like that. So that's the area by gate 2. It's pretty straightforward. The other area is inside the existing track. It's for Motorkana, and I believe there's been a bit of confusion about what Motorkana is all about. So I thought I'd just tell you that it's the very base level of driver training to increase your driving skills. You can start that at 14. The cars that are used are typically Honda Civics, electric Leafs, Minis, and essentially if you could imagine a cul-de-sac and everybody had their garage door open, the idea would be to back into all the garages and back out onto the street in the shortest time. So it's a very low speed, no noise. Cars are all registered and warranted, so they comply to normal noise regulations. We have 6 of those events a year. At the moment, we put them on the track, which means coning it off, but also the track is slightly too narrow. So we'd like to have a square area to do that. But also, if we had that area on the inside of the track, we would also be able to have some more car driver training by our training providers and tenants of the track, because we just don't have a wide enough bit for the likes of the skid car man and things like that. So it'd be really great. And it's just really a relocation of what we're already doing. There's no additional noise involved because all the cars and vehicles are registered and warranted, comply with NZTA rules. So pretty straightforward. And the third item that we'd like to continue with and have approval for is planting of some more trees and shrubs. We've worked out what amount of foliage we need to have around the park to get to a carbon neutral situation. We've also got plans with electric vehicles. One of our groups is developing electric cars right at the moment, and we have upgraded some of our electric facilities for charging and that around the park. So generally speaking, we're a pretty responsible club. We don't seek any funding from the council. We're self-funded. We give a fair bit back to the community. In fact, I think we just had the secondary cyclist there the other day. So we're just seeking approval to relocate to 2 of those asphalt areas and plant some more trees, essentially. Thank you.
That's very good. Thanks very much, Lewis. And I've got a question from Helen Broughton. Yeah, Helen's on the screen over here. Sorry.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Your question, Helen?
You have to unmute.
You're muted, Helen.
Mute.
No, we can't hear your question, Helen.
Yeah, there's a few small resource consent issues. If anything doesn't comply, you'd be happy to put in a resource consent, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just really looking for approval as a landlord-tenant situation.
Okay.
Before we go down that track.
Okay. And you might be aware that Felix now has a list of things that possibly need resource consent. So if you contact him, he'll be able to give them to you. They're fairly minor.
Yeah,
Felix is in the room.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'd like to move it, Mike.
No,
DB?
we haven't. No, we're
Not
still
yet,
in
not yet.
deputations. We haven't got it on the agenda yet. Sorry, Deb.
I thought we're jumping ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any further questions of Lewis? Jimmy?
Just one question. You mentioned there is no any impact, with the surrounding the area. Am I right?
Yes.
But here, I saw there is one area is particularly regarding to the speedway, the area.
no, we're not going.
No any impact.
No.
Okay. So if no, then through the resource concern process, the surrounding residents still eligible to have their say. Am I right? It's a public notified or is
No.
It'll be a question for Felix.
okay. That's it. Okay, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Just want to know.
Thank you very much, Lewis.
Mike, thank you,
Much
everyone.
appreciated. Now, if it's a wish of the, we've still got some other items of the agenda to go through now. So thanks very much, and we'll see if we can get this brought forward while you're
Thank
still
you.
here, Lewis,
Yeah. That's
if we
good.
can do that.
That's one thing.
Yeah, Mike, can we bring that forward?
Yeah, well, hang on. We've still got the presentations of petitions. I'm moving through the agenda. There are none. And we've got an item of correspondence from the Greater Hornby Residents Association, which I'm quite happy to move that we receive that item of correspondence, and seconded by Jimmy Chen.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Then I'll put the motion, all those in favour. You've got discussion on that, Debbie?
Oh, yeah, just are we able to piggyback on the back of that correspondence, because Halswell, meaning Longhurst, and Halswell Quarry also have those issues. So if it could be looked into in tandem.
Oh, well, we can bring that up in we're just receiving this letter of
Yeah,
correspondence, and that can be brought up in elected members' information exchange.
Yeah, great.
Okay. So all those in favour of receiving the item of correspondence say aye.
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 Any? Declare that carried. Then we've also got the minutes of the joint community board meetings that we had with the Fennelton Waimari Harewood Community Board, and ours on the 4th of July. And Jimmy, you're happy to move those minutes, and I'm quite happy to second them. Is there any discussion? Then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
If any, carried. Now, I would just like to suggest that we actually move to clause 11 on our agenda at this point in the meeting.
Yes.
So that's what I'm suggesting. Have I got a seconder for that?
Yep, DB.
Is the board in favour of that?
Yeah.
All those in favour say aye.
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 Carried. Righto, we'll now welcome Felix Dawson. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, and you can sit there and look at the screen. No, that's fine.
One there. There's one here
Yep.
too, they can see.
No, that's good. Yeah.
So this is a landowner approval under the terms of the lease for building structures, which is delegated to the board, of course. Can I just say at this point that the issues, you received the information that came through today, and I want to apologise for it coming through so late, and also apologise for it not being addressed in the report. I think it was relevant and should have been included. So if you accept my apology for that. I think if you've looked at the material, you'll see that there aren't a lot of issues significant issues that come up. The planners have given a sort of preliminary assessment of it in the absence of detailed information. It looks like it would be a permitted activity, but there may be some consent required on some small matters.
Yeah.
So that's the essence of the resource consent issue. And I think it's important to realise that, or to note, and I did that in my cover note, but I'll just reiterate it, that any consent for this building is the building of the asphalt is subject to the resource consent or building consent requirements. So it's important to note that.
Yep.
We've lost the board.
I've brought the report.
Brought the
Right.
reports up there now, Felix.
So Lewis sort of covered what the activities are, and the recommendations are for the board to approve the construction of them.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, Jimmy.
Only the officer recommendation paragraph 1, whether the community board today we approve is in principle, but still subject to the, you mentioned the building concern and the resource concern. Am I right? It's
Yeah,
condition
required.
in principle.
Yeah, if they're
okay.
required.
Yeah. Okay,
Don't
thank
need
you.
to approve it in principle, just approve it.
No, we'll approve it today.
But we approve, but if the resource concern, all those still need to dealing with those issues.
Yeah.
It's kind of in principle, am I right?
Well, if
It says landowner.
Huh?
It says landowner, whereas the landowner and lessor,
Yeah. But
under the terms of the lease.
who will prepare those application? Is a council or is the Canterbury Club?
Oh, Canterbury Club. Yeah.
Canterbury Club.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what Lewis said, Jimmy, when he was there, that
Yeah,
if
wonderful.
there's any resource consent
Yeah.
issues, then they would deal with them. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So if DP move, I would like to second.
Well, Debbie's moved this matter, the staff recommendation, and it's been seconded by Jimmy.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion?
No.
There's no discussion, then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against if any? Declare that carried. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil.
Very fine.
Thank you, Lewis.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on then now to back to item number 12 on our item number 9,
No. Okay.
which is proposed road names, 26 Glover's Road. We've all seen that report.
I'd like to move that. Debbie.
Good to second as well.
Been moved by Debbie, seconded by Gamal.
I'd like to move an amendment if possible.
Okay, what's your amendment, Andre?
My amendment is that we change Seattle Street to be Songpa Street. Reason being, we've just had the new Korean War Memorial Pavilion at the quarry, so I think a Korean name is more than fitting. And my second.
Sorry, yeah, carry on, Andre.
Yes, that was road number 5 in Seattle Street to Songpa Street. Secondly, road number 6, Adelaide Close. Believe it or not, if you Google Adelaide Close Christchurch, it'll take you to Adelaide Close in Christchurch, UK, which is right by the hospital in Christchurch, UK. And I do have a preference for as much local meaning as possible in our roads. The option I would be moving for amendment on that would be Cabbage Close. William Cabbage Wilson was not only Christchurch's first mayor, he used to own the quarry. So it has significant meaning in my mind. So that's the amendment I'll be moving.
Okay, so those,
So, excuse me, Mike.
sorry, we've got a
Just
quick,
getting it right. So it's Road 5, Andre. You wanted Songpoo, and what was the other road? Sorry, that you wanted from change from
The
Adelaide.
five Songpa.
Songpa, yep. And what was the other road?
Would be road number 6.
6.
So Adelaide Close.
From Adelaide to, yep, Cabbage.
Adelaide to Cabbage, that's right.
Can I just add regarding that Adelaide Close, Andre?
Yep.
Once the road is actually named, if we had it called Adelaide Close here, it would come up in Christchurch once we've named it. It's just that at present, it's not been named. So once we do a Google search Christchurch, as you know, smartphones pick up your location, so it would take us to the Christchurch one. Your closest one.
Yeah, most likely would, but potentially wouldn't. Depends on someone's settings on their phone and their IP address and so on and so forth. But my point remains on local meaning as much as possible. And someone who used to someone who used to own the quarry, so that's what I'm moving.
Yeah. So what was your first one again?
First one was Seattle Street to Songpa Street. Reason being, I think it's quite fitting to go with the new Korean War Memorial Pavilion that we've just installed. So if we've got an option of a Korean name here, I think that's an opportunity well seized.
Thanks.
okay.
Thank you.
So are we clear now on the amendment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion? Have we got somebody, Andre's moving that amendment. Have we got a seconder?
I just wondered, should that have been brought up when the email went out today?
Yeah, I would like to second that, yeah.
Well, it could have been.
Because we don't have our staff member here tonight to discuss it. Because we had decided everything was going.
I don't think we need staff. It's our decision to make. So people are able to vote against if they so wish to.
Okay.
But there are alternatives that are offered.
And they are
Yeah.
alternatives that have been offered as well.
Yeah. I've just gone
You know
purely what's an alternative. So
Yeah.
but it's only if others agree, of course. But yeah.
No,
Yep.
I'm happy to run with that amendment.
Okay, so it's been moved, Andre, seconded by Debbie. Is there any discussion on the amendment?
No, it's been
No.
moved, Andre, seconded Jimmy.
No, excuse me, I seconded it actually.
No, Jimmy did, sorry.
No, I did it earlier actually.
No, you didn't.
Doesn't
I did, excuse
I
me.
appreciate the enthusiasm of seconding this
Excuse me,
amendment.
I did.
Much appreciated.
Excuse me, I did. It doesn't matter, but I did second it first.
Let's
The
not.
point is,
No.
Who saw the screen first? Who did you see first, Grace?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
I
well,
had Jimmy.
It doesn't matter, but look,
Jimmy's been written down.
just make
That's
it
fine.
right
Okay.
going forward.
So the point,
Okay.
the point I just want to make is, so Debbie's happy to take that on board. If the seconder of the original motion, which was Gamal's, happy to take that on board, it just becomes substituted. We don't need to go through the amendment.
Okay.
Double vote.
Okay,
So is Gamal happy with that?
so Gamal, are you happy with that amendment?
Yes.
brother? Okay,
Yes.
it makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks very much for that then. Well, then we'll move the amendment will then become the substantive.
So you mean it's defer to the next board meeting?
No.
Or waiting for-
We'll move the amendment now.
Yes.
So
That we accept all of those names except for those two which will change. So
Oh,
that's the
okay.
amendment.
Yeah.
So if we accept the amendment, then that amended one becomes a substantive motion. So we'll vote on that and then that'll be right.
I
Okay,
thought
Yeah.
there was
I agree. Yes,
Yeah.
maybe faster, yeah.
there was 3, not 2.
3-1.
There were 3 amendments from Andre.
Oh, it was 2. So it was road 5 and road number 6.
Ride 5 and number 6.
So just to be clear, Debbie and Gamal have listened to Andre and said, yes, actually, we would like to take that on board, and that's what we will move instead of the staff recommendation.
Yes,
So,
agree.
the one vote. Yep.
So, okay, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, if any, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on then to our next item on our agenda, which is clause 10, Fife Road, no stopping, no proposed no stopping restrictions.
I move
That
that.
I would like to move. Yeah,
It's been moved by Debbie, seconded by Jimmy.
it's very, very clear.
Is there any discussion?
No.
Have you got your hand still up there, Andre?
No,
There's a hand there.
that's my little.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay.
No hand here, just Halswell and me.
Yep. So it's been moved and seconded.
Yeah.
So that was Debbie and Jimmy.
Debbie and Jimmy, is there any discussion? Then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
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 Against, if any, carried. Moving on then to the next item on our agenda, which is the community board meeting schedule. And I would just like to speak on that one, if we've got a mover and a seconder.
I can't even find it.
Okay. So Jimmy's moved it, so we're, and it's been seconded, so it's open for debate.
Now, who's seconded it? Because I think there's
Catherine
consent. Sorry?
Catherine Chu.
I'm sorry, I haven't heard. Sorry.
Catherine is waving.
Oh, you've seconded it because there are major doubts about this, so it needs debate, I think.
That's why it's been moved and seconded. Now I'm opening it up for discussion.
Okay.
So I'm suggesting that we have a close look at this if we haven't already, and it sounds like the board members may have had a close look at this already. That what's being proposed is, Faye, would you like to, in the absence of Matthew, present this report?
Aye.
This report has been produced in response to some members indicating that they would like to meet or to be seen in areas away from this meeting room, I guess, further out in the community, perhaps other council sites, perhaps other sites. There's difficulties attached with conducting formal meetings there, in particular live streaming, etc. So this proposal has been come up that would see the board meeting once a month formally in this meeting room, as we do now, and on the kind of alternate meeting dates.
Yes.
Going to a venue, perhaps Napunawai, somewhere else like that, a community site.
Just for a briefing.
And holding a briefing there, but the briefings wouldn't be public, but associated with the briefing could be an opportunity to hear from locals on various subjects.
But in saying that, it's my understanding that the locals wouldn't be able to move the briefing. We wouldn't be able to move or second anything other than hear what people have got to say in a public forum. So we wouldn't be able to make any decisions on anything. So as far as I'm concerned, and I'll be upfront, I think we should leave it with 2 meetings a month and briefings as they are until the end of this term, and then have a look and see whether the new board wants to go down that track. But I think I just think it's a lot of time and effort, not for a hell of a lot of gain when it's not our board that's meeting out in the community. It's only a briefing. So
I
that's
agree.
where I'm coming from. So if people want to agree with me, well then we'll vote against this motion.
No, I agree. Sorry, I'll put my hand up. Can I say something, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, I tend to agree that it's a big decision before the new board. So I think it's just really important for the new board to be making the decision.
Yep. Helen, have you got your hand up?
Yes, I support keeping things as they are. We've only got a couple of months prior to voting papers going out. And I just think it looks a bit tacky to suddenly be out in the community when we haven't done so before. I know there's COVID and other reasons, but I do think it's for the next board to actually decide on any changes. So I'm not even sure why it's coming up at this time, actually. Seems sort of strange, but I'll vote against this.
Okay, any further discussion? Jimmy,
Yeah, because
you want to take your mask off, Jimmy? When you're speaking, you can take your mask off if you wish.
Okay, that's good. But if we review 3.8, it looks like our open forum still can be the continuing. Am I right?
Yes, but
and also if we have
the people come to the open forum, Jimmy, and then we'll have to kick them out for a briefing, and we won't be able to make any decisions on anything they come to the public forum about.
Okay.
Because there will be no record of the meeting either. There won't be any minutes taken.
Okay.
And there'll be no record of it. So it'd be an absolute waste of time unless they just wanted to come and have a chat.
Thank you, Chair. But if that's true, you know, why this one? You are the chair. Pre-meeting, you receive this one. Bring to the committee meeting.
Yes.
That's why.
Well, I didn't think it should have been here personally, but Matthew said that that's what the board wanted to do. So anyway, the report came.
It was in response to requests from members to meet. There's difficulties associated with holding those public meetings out at other venues, and so this was kind of almost a halfway house.
And Jimmy, I didn't know about it until Jimmy, I didn't know about it until the draft agenda came out.
Okay.
And then Helen and I met with Matthew and we had the agenda setting meeting where we spoke to him about it, but it was already on the agenda then. So I just thought, well, if it's the will of the meeting, we'll just vote it out.
So we have a staff recommendation has been moved and seconded.
Seconded. So if we don't want it, we just vote against us. So all those in favour of the staff recommendation, say aye.
You may stop. Yeah, aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
That's the staff recommendation. So we've got Catherine Chu in favour.
I think I've misunderstood.
So I think you've misunderstood. If you don't want to proceed with this, then you would vote against it. So I'll put it again.
We can debate or not.
We're debating it. We've debated it now, haven't we?
But because I explained that one, it's not a formal debate.
Okay, then we'll go on to formal debate then. Right, Jimmy, away you go.
Yeah, because my view, you know, the meeting, you know, no matter council or committee board meeting, the quality should be the better than in more than in the quantity, because my understanding is not only the our committee board is this recommendation the one time meeting and also the other 1 or 2 times briefing. Some other committee board also as well, you know, and also this term possibly only the more than 2 months will be finished, and also this the staff recommendation only valid in this term rather than extension to next term. Next term, the elected member, they are eligible to have those the dialogue or the conversation.
They can decide whether they only want one meeting a month. And so forth.
So I think possibly, you know, it's still reasonable regarding to only 2 times, you know, even the remaining 2 time formal meeting, even a 3 time meeting, but still you can see that even like today, still some of the, you know, the elect member is not eligible to attend those meetings, you know. So my view, probably this one is a reasonable, particular from now on to the end of this.
So are you going to vote in favour of?
Oh, favour, yeah, that's why I move. Favor.
Okay, okay. So that's fine then. Yeah. So you know what you're voting for. Okay. We've got Debbie and Helen, and then okay. Debbie.
Yeah, just unmuting. Just for those who are reasonably new, Mike, you'll remember back in Upper Riccarton days when we were meeting there that our meetings had the briefings attached, and that's why we kind of separated them out. And it's just another opportunity of finding out which is the most beneficial way of getting quality, as Jimmy put it. But I am opposed to it at this point simply because we're making decisions for a future board, and I just think that it would be great for the new board to be making this decision, not us.
Okay, Helen?
Yes, I'll, as I said earlier, informally, I'll be voting against this. There's only 2 months till the election papers go out, and it seems a very odd time to be making such a major change. Particularly opposed to the briefings being out in the community at this point, because I think it's going to look a bit odd that we haven't done it for 3 years, and suddenly in the lead up to the election, we're suddenly out in other areas. So I think, I don't even know why it's in front of us, and I don't want to prejudge a incoming board. I personally think the 2 meetings a month have gone well, and we did have 1 meeting a month a long time ago, and it just didn't work. So I'm in favour of keeping 2 meetings a month, and I'm in favour of keeping the status quo for this term. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Helen. Is there any further debate?
Yeah, I'd probably just make the point that what we decide, the new board can also decide whatever they like. So I don't see what we decide today having any impact on that, because that's up to the new board if they want to revert back to twice a month or whatever it might be. Yeah, I guess I'm sort of trusting that staff putting this forward, believing this is what will work best for the rest of the term. So I'm going in with some trust on that, I guess.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question? If the new board, if this passes tonight in support of the staff recommendation, will the new...
The end of the term.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be whispering, Debbie. I was just saying to Mike, it only applies till the end of the term.
It only applies to the end of the term, so it's a lot of money to bring up a staff report, to be honest.
So can I just clarify then? The change that is taking place here is just, instead of having 2 fortnightly meetings, we're going to have 1 monthly meeting for the next 2 months. That's the only change.
No, and we'll be having briefings out in the community, and the briefings will be in PX briefings, because that's what they are. They'll be out in the community, so we're moving all the way out to the community to sit in a room by ourselves and have a briefing.
But our briefings at present are via Zoom.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
That's right. No,
So
won't be. We'd have to physically go out, or if we go to a meeting and there might be 2 of us at the meeting in the community, and everybody else zooming in, which would be a daft use of resources.
So can I make an amendment then that
no, I don't know that you do need to make an amendment, Deb. You're either in favour of it or not.
No, you haven't heard what my amendment is.
Okay.
My amendment is, although I can't see my agenda in front of me because I'm looking at you, so I'm okay. I've listened to everybody, and I am okay with the staff recommendation. However, I would like to see, because there is no advantage in going out to the community for briefings, as you've outlined at this point, because it's PX anyway. I would like to see the briefings continue via Zoom for the rest of this term, only for the rest of this term, because there is no advantage with us going out into the community if it's PX anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Debbie. And if there's any opportunities for briefings to be live streamed like that briefing we got on recycling was, then that's going out to the community in a way that the community can actually access it by watching it on YouTube. So that makes a whole lot of sense, what you're saying, Debbie.
Okay, so what we're virtually saying then today, if we go with that logic, Debbie, is we're just saying to staff, we're happy for you to only organise one meeting a month for our community board for the rest of this term.
Well, that's what they're recommending. Yeah.
But we haven't asked for that. That's what staff came back and said to us. That's what we should be looking at.
Well,
And,
okay.
and
so
staff
my-
have also said, seeing we're only having one meeting a month, we'll go out to the community and have our briefings.
Yeah.
So can I perhaps ask if there's any underlying can I please ask staff, because there may be other reasons unbeknown to us, if there's any other reason that they're wanting once a month. Is it because there's going to be less on our agendas leading up to the election, that perhaps they only feel that it's only necessary for one a month leading up to the election? Is that perhaps the reason?
Well, I don't know that staff can actually decide what's going to go on the agenda until reports come through. So, I wouldn't like to say
the
that.
Purpose, if I can interrupt, Mike, the purpose for the report is that some members said that they wanted to go out in the community and hear from residents in the community on various.
Yeah, that was early in the term. That was before COVID as well.
So the proposal is that if we can't do that with the board meeting, we could do it. We could go out and hold a briefing. So as a reason for us to be in a venue. And while we were there, we could hear from residents. As Mike said, it won't be a meeting, so it won't be minuted, and it won't.
There won't be any minutes taken, and there won't be any decisions made.
So be reported on through an area report or some such other.
But the purpose of going out to the community was to hold our meetings in the community.
Well, that's not what this report's about. That is not what this report is about.
So that's why I'm saying that what Faye has just mentioned isn't quite what we've requested.
No,
it's not what you've requested.
No,
it's an alternative, I guess, to try and accommodate what was sort
costs a lot of money for a report anyway. But
Mike, I have my hand up. Look, this is quite simple. There's 2 months to go. Basically, it's not the time. It's not the time to make major change. We make it once the board. Excuse me, Jimmy. We make it once the board's back in. And I just think, why would you go? And I also discussed with the board, did you want Zoom for briefings? And the answer was yes. So our briefings must continue by Zoom. And I think we could do 2 meetings a month, but I don't see any reason for this report. I think we should vote against it, basically.
Okay, yeah. Any further discussion? Then I'll put the motion. If you're in favour of 1 meeting a month and briefings via Zoom, either here or at different locations, you'll vote in favour of it, or you vote against it. So all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, say no.
No.
Aye.
Clear that lost.
How many support? How many lost? How many?
Does somebody want to call for a division?
No, not necessary. To me, not necessary. It's a small issue.
So, show of hands for all those in favour of the staff recommendation.
Okay.
Catherine and Jimmy. All those against?
Sorry, Andre in favour as well.
Andre, you didn't have your hand up, brother. Okay.
I'm still confused, so I'm going to abstain. No, because it really is quite confusing.
Well, if you abstain, Debbie, it's passed, and we'll end up with the staff recommendation. So.
No, what I need, what Helen was concerned about.
What you already had will be what you get. If it's lost, but
okay.
Hang on. What I'm concerned about is what Helen was concerned about. She said, let's leave it for the new board to make the decision. But the point is, we need to reiterate here that this is only for the remainder of our term. It's not for the new term, Helen.
No, we don't think. But so why change at this point? It's just.
So we don't want an argument about it. We either want people to vote for the staff recommendation.
Yes.
Or if you don't want to go down the track of having meetings with nobody there via Zoom, well, that's what we'll end up with. So
So with the
If
staff
you're-
recommendation, where are the briefings going to be? Are they via Zoom or?
No, they're going to be out in the community by ourselves with by sitting there like lonely little ducks in the paddock.
Oh, no. Well, you don't want
Okay.
that. None of us want that.
No.
Only sometimes.
Okay. So we all know what we're doing.
Yep.
So if you want the staff recommendation, raise your hand.
One more, you mean one more?
Yeah.
Well, we want the staff. Someone's wanting staff recommendation with briefings remaining by Zoom. So I don't really understand why we can't move the amendment Debbie suggested.
That's what I agree, Andre.
What Debbie said makes sense. Let's just go with it.
We had an amendment.
So
We've had a suggested amendment, but it wasn't seconded and it hadn't been discussed.
So
as
is
such,
the
so-
amendment that we have monthly meetings and continue briefings via Zoom? Is that what you want to amend to move?
But Faye, your paragraph 2 is either or, am I right, by Zoom or by the community? Am I more flexible?
This seems like a hell of a lot of effort going into this for something quite simple. We got something put before us that we haven't really asked for at this point in our term. So we either vote for it or against it.
Yeah.
So the proposal is,
But Debbie's still allowed to move an amendment.
she is.
But it hasn't been seconded, Andre.
I'm happy to second it.
I'm just trying to clarify what the amendment is. So we've got two proposals that we swap to monthly meetings for the rest of the term.
Yes.
And that we hold workshops in the
Briefings.
briefings. Sorry, I'm getting
Via Zoom in the
No,
community.
not via Zoom, Mike. In the community. That's the second recommendation, in the community. So you want to move one, adopt the monthly schedule and not move two? Is that what you want? Is that what the amendment is, to delete two?
Yeah, because there's no purpose in the briefings going out there isolated where the public can't come.
So all you're doing then is having changing
Move
the
it one.
meetings from 2 weekly to monthly. It'll take one meeting off our agenda.
And continue our briefings via Zoom.
Yes.
So are we happy for the staff to tell us that we can only have one meeting a month?
Well, you're voting for it.
Well, that's for us to decide.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's for us to decide, I know. So if we're happy for that, to have the opportunity for our residents to bring their concerns to this community board twice a month, you would vote in favour of this recommendation. And if you don't, you would vote against it.
Oh,
No, it's the other way around, Mike.
yeah.
The recommendation at this stage is that
Oh, I can't see the recommendation. I'm sorry, I can't see it.
Can we please screen share? Can we please screen share?
Yeah, hold on, Debbie.
Yep, thank you.
I can't see the screens from my location.
You look on my laptop, right?
Can I make a point, Mike, just for everybody, that if you have one meeting a month in July and August, August, September, the election's about the 8th of October, then it takes a month to settle a board in. So you'll only have 2 meetings between now and mid-November. And I think you want the capacity to have meetings as we currently have them. We can always cancel meetings. The chair and the staff can cancel meetings.
Okay, so if you have a look at your recommendations in front of you, which I can't see now because they changed the screen.
Sorry.
Trying to share screen.
I'm trying to share it.
Okay.
We'll also be able to add meetings if the need comes up, won't we?
No,
that's what
you have to schedule them, and staff.
That's a hell of a big job because you need to know your meeting dates before, and they've got to be, there's all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you can't have them go.
And staff have
A whole lot of
deadlines.
kerfuffle about very little gain, really.
I'm not quite sure what the purpose of having the meetings out in the community are. Sorry, the briefings.
Can you see those?
Okay, I can see the recommendations
Can you see
here.
that, Grace?
No,
Am I not sharing it?
no.
No, so Grace can't see it either, so we're in a bit of a stalemate here with the technology.
Hold on a second. It should be there.
Yeah.
there
No,
now?
we still can't see it.
Yeah, that's there now.
It's there now?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't see it.
hang on, well, I just have to.
You are, Mike. Watch. Look at mine.
Okay, I'll go over here to Grace's.
There you are, Mike.
Okay, I'll go with this one, Grace, thanks. Okay, so the staff are recommending that we have on Tuesday, the 16th of August at 5 o'clock, we have a meeting here. And the staff are also recommending that on the 20th of December at 5 o'clock, we have a meeting here. September. That's what the staff are recommending. And then the notes are holding board briefings and workshops will be held at either the first or the Tuesday of the month, where possible, or the Tuesday following.
You don't need to be.
And they will be at various locations within the Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton wards. And as Faye has said, at those briefings, they will be PX briefings. And if members of the public wanted to come along to a public forum, well, then they could come along before we have the briefings. And then, but there'll be no minutes taken, there'll be no notes taken of that meeting or what they talked to us about at that meeting. So we would then have to transfer that back to a meeting every 2 weeks, or if this is passed, every month.
Okay.
Via elected members' information exchange to say that we had a meeting at Halswell Library.
Okay.
And this is what the feedback from the public was. So we'd have to explain that in an elected members' briefing at a subsequent meeting.
So we cannot receive later.
Not formally.
No, there's no minutes taken. There's no
That's true.
notes
I
taken.
withdraw.
Okay.
The staff
So
recommendation.
that's what I was trying
I
to say.
thought we
to
can
people.
receive. We cannot.
It's a
I
very
withdraw. I
expensive
withdraw.
report for very little gain. But
I
anyway,
want to support what Jimmy's just said too. After our further discussion and what Helen has said, etc., about the next meeting being November, and the opportunity is there for us to cancel if required. I think I would like to therefore not support either of this item now.
Okay, so.
I would
So
like
you
to
were
leave our
drawing your
meetings. I
amendment.
would like to leave our meetings as status quo with our briefings via Zoom.
Okay, so that means the status quo.
So you are amendment, is amendment or not, DB?
You don't need to just.
No,
We
we don't need an amendment now.
We have a mover and a seconder, Jimmy, and you
Yes.
no longer want to move it. So does Catherine want to?
But I don't want to
Somebody
move.
else
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
I'll move it. I'll move.
No, you don't want to move. You're going to vote against it.
You want to
Yeah,
move?
Mike.
Well, if we don't have a move in a second, we can't vote against it, Grace.
No, you want to vote against it. All those in favour?
If no one moves it, then it.
I withdraw.
then nothing happens
Okay,
to
so
it.
nobody's moved it, so the move,
Nobody's in favour.
Well, does anybody want to move the stuff?
does anybody want to move the staff recommendation?
You don't need to move it.
Do you want to?
No.
No,
Okay.
so nobody's moved it and seconded, so, yeah, we'll just
Okay.
We just go with the status quo.
go with the status quo.
Okay.
Okay,
I thought
Can we
that
move
you
to the next
already
report?
discussed.
cool, we got through that one.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Then we move on then to clause 13, the area report. Everybody's read the area report. There's some good news in there.
Hey, you can stop sharing now.
So has anybody got any questions of our area report? No? Okay. Well, I'd like to move that we receive the area report. Have I got a seconder?
I'm second.
Seconded by Jimmy Chen. Is there any discussion? Then I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against of
Aye.
any?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Now we get on to the most exciting part. Oh, no, there's the elected members information exchange. And I'd just like to start the ball rolling by saying we'd asked for staff to meet with NZTA about the signage on Halswell Junction Road. And I just wondered where that's at. So I'm asking that question through elected members information exchange. Has anybody else got any information they wish to exchange at this point in
Yeah.
time?
Yes, I've got my hand up.
Hand up.
Okay, thanks, Debbie.
I've got 4 things here, just very briefly. Just want to outline to everybody. I've been contacted by residents at Kennedy's Bush Road because of the new development there in Glover's Road. They found that the traffic management there was really, really sloppy, is the word used. And we had residents turning left, right, U-turns. There was no traffic management whatsoever. Anyway, the residents dealt with it themselves and have contacted the council. And the person is now going to be creating some signage there to create some ease there for the residents coming down from Kennedy's Bush Road. So that's been quite dramatic for them. The other one is just wondering, Faye, Matthew's not here, so I'm not sure if you're aware. I'll put in a request about the yellow lines for the corner of Arthur Street and Henson Lane. I don't know if there's been any follow-up on that, and I sent some photos through.
It came out in a meeting, with the joint meeting.
Henson Lane, I'm not sure, Debbie. I remember the correspondence. It was probably sent through to staff, but I can confirm that.
I think that might have come up in that craft joint meeting, Debbie.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. The other one was the it came up on, and Andre is aware of this one as well, as our correspondence to in regards to the Aidenfield sign that's been misspelt. Just wondering if there's been anything on that. I did ask if there was a consent for that being placement on a berm for it. Is it simpler just to have it removed? If there has been no consent, or we certainly need the spelling changed on that, because it's spelled A-I-D-A-N, not A-I-D-E-N. So just wanting some follow-up there. Also just jumping on the, piggybacking on that correspondence from Greater Hornby Residents Association in regards to break-ins and safety. We've had many safety meetings over the years, haven't we? And it is so imperative that these are reported so that the police have some idea where the crimes are having, and so that they can police the particular areas. But I'm just wondering if there is anything in the pipework for security cameras in Longhurst. There's lots of break-ins happening there at the moment, and also Horswell Quarry. We've been on that case there for some time as well, and just not sure what's happening there as well.
Horswell Quarry, Debbie, I was under the impression that there were cameras to be installed, but I haven't had confirmation of that yet. So I have gone back to staff and asked for that.
Yeah, I think there may be one after talking with out there, but I'm just, if we can have, but I haven't had official confirmation. Yeah. If we can have confirmation on that, would be wonderful. Thank you. That's me done.
Yeah.
Okay, Andre, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, one was the same point as Debbie. We just, I'd written stuff a couple of days ago, just trying to get an idea on where we're at with CCTV at the quarry. So the other point I was going to make is I've heard from quite a number of residents recently, and it's regarding missing connections around Halswell. It's around roads and access from schools to homes with just no safe ways of crossing roads. There's honestly, it's got to the point where there's too many for me to list off for you, but we've got missing footpath connections on Halswell Road, Sparks Road, Cashmere Road, Dunbars Road, Halls Junction Road. Missing footpath connections on all of them, and it's and they're our main roads. It's hard to believe in areas built up as this, it's still got that many missing footpath connections. So that's
I recall that was one of our priorities in this term, was to fill those missing links, Andre.
Unfortunately, not a single one has had any improvements. But anyway, that's my update. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Helen.
Yes. First, a question for Faye. The CRAF funding, which we approved recently, does that go back to council, or is sort of that it?
Well, no, so it will either come to the board. So the various separate projects, what the board did was give kind of approval to the program and the listed projects. Now, those specific projects will be worked up and designed in consultation, whatever's necessary will be undertaken, and then they will come back to either the board for approval or the council, depending on where the delegation lies.
So is there any possibility that what was approved might not happen? Might not?
That will depend on whether the board or the council approves it when it comes through as the final design, yeah.
Oh, so, but everything will come through as a final design, will it? Or could some be dropped off?
No, they won't be dropped because the board's indicated the program, but they need to be separately approved.
Okay.
Once there's been consultation done, the board's heard that or the council's heard that, they might have different views of their initial one.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So now the only other, the issue for Riccarton is intensification, and I understand it's going to council on the 11th of August. There was a briefing today of councillors. I'm not sure what's in effect that briefing, but there's a great concern. A lot of Riccarton is going to 6 stories potentially, which I think's nuts. So the other thing to be aware of, and I think this is really strange too, that there's 2 bits of this: the 6 stories round commercial centres. That's going to go, that will be announced after the 11th of August, and people have a month to make submissions on it. So that's going before an independent hearings panel. The 3 stories, which is across the whole city, is coming in regardless, I think, on the 20th of, in fact, August. So there won't be a lot of opportunity for people to submit on that. It will just become a standard formula across the whole city, unless the staff have isolated heritage areas or areas that don't have infrastructure. So there's areas of Riccarton which could stay at 3 stories, and even they are very cross. So
is this still a question of faith? Because
no.
This is elected members' information exchange,
yes,
Helen,
that's it.
and we've got a rugby match starting shortly.
So basically, even the 3 stories is causing trouble for people. People are highly concerned about it, and I don't think there's a great deal they can actually do. They can do something with the 6 stories because they can submit before prior to the hearings panel. It's very confusing for people. And Deems Avenue Precinct Society is included in the 6 stories, but it doesn't actually fit the 6 stories because it's further away from a commercial centre.
We're aware of that, Helen.
Yeah, so it's not good. And, okay.
Okay, anybody else got any information they wish to exchange? Jimmy?
Okay,
and then I've got another little bit.
Okay, thank you. Just quickly, several issues. The first one, I attend the South Hornby School Assembly to present the Duffy books to the students on last Friday.
Good.
I think that's very good, because South Hornby school, they are low kind of socio-economic. This is under 4, so they encourage those students, can keep those books at their home. Because I particularly speak a few words to them, encourage them, because this kind of knowledge is power, So this Duffy the book presentation, then they can, enjoy to reading, give them more knowledge. So that's very good. Just want to share with you. Second one is because today we received item 7, Great Hornby Resident Association also safety the forum or meeting, etc. Whether it's possible, Chair, you consider, we can follow the Templeton Resident Association model. We invite the police and also maybe Hornby the patrol, community patrol and also
It's
NVTA. Is it follow those models?
It's exactly what I'm trying to do, Jim.
Wonderful.
Just
That's
got to pull, I'm
very
just gonna
good.
pull staff all
Yeah,
together.
otherwise I'm concerned,
Yeah.
not waste the time.
And that-
Integrate all those
Yeah.
and
agencies.
that covers some of the stuff that Andre was
Yeah.
talking about, as well as
Yeah,
safety
okay.
schools, all that stuff, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the one just in response to the Helen concern, but the council regarding to those the housing and the business choice plan change in that one, council will be adopted on the 11th of August and start from the 19th of August this year. They will have the formal public notification notified. This one I only can share. You know,
Okay.
the time frame.
Yeah.
Last one is I remember last year, particularly regarding to the long-term plan, particularly we secure those Yohurst Rural Memorial Hall. You know,
Yes.
it's not to dispose. They want,
Yes.
but I remember back to the February of this year. My understanding, the office already, you know, to undertake those the EOI expectation of intent, you know. But up to now, several months, not any progress.
Well, it's
So
gonna
I'm
be
not sure
required-
officer can consider, you know,
Yeah,
the
that's gonna
update
be,
status.
that's gonna be considered at
The join the community board meeting.
no, it's
No?
gonna be considered at their AGM. The
Oh,
Aldhurst
AGM.
Rural Residents AGM.
And I was told they raised, I was
Yeah.
not there, you know,
Yeah.
they raised this issue. But I just want to know
Yeah,
the
well, I don't
updated
know what came
status.
out of
you
it.
know.
I
Yeah.
had intended to go, but I just.
Yeah, I didn't go there,
No,
I swear.
okay,
Yeah,
Jimmy, so
just
we'll
raised this.
follow that up then.
Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
my
okay.
issue.
And that was the other thing that I wanted to bring up again, was a community safety meeting. We really must push on with that. So we've got to get, I have talked to Matthew about that, but anyway, we'll sort that all online, that we really need to get that cranked up and make it happen. Okay. So that's about it from me. Is there anything else? Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for their attendance at the meeting today. And thanks for the deputations and that we've had. And also like to thank staff for sorting out some IT issues under pressure before we could start the meeting. And so thanks very much. I think somebody had the magic wand and was waving it around. But anyway, thanks very much, Grace, for coming and helping and support our board at this meeting as well. So thanks, and so have a good night, everybody.